Discover the incredible life-changing journey of a Victorian baker. Heartwarming tales exposed. Clara stood in the dim light of the bakery, the smell of fresh bread swirling around her like a warm embrace. The weight of her father's legacy pressed down on her shoulders. "This place was built for love," he used to say, smiling, flour on his cheek, hands kneading dough with the kind of passion that lit up the small, humble establishment. Memories of laughter and warmth sprang to mind like the dough he coaxed into life. But now, the once vibrant bakery felt heavy, shadows creeping in where light once danced. After her father's sudden passing, Clara faced a chilling reality. The economy had turned on its head, and the future of sweet traditions hung by a thread. Each passing day brought more whispers and judging stares from the elite in town, their pristine smiles masking their disdain for someone like her, rooted and rough around the edges. "She'll never keep it alive," they scoffed, casting doubt like a chilly wind. Those words cut deep, piercing her heart each time they echoed in her mind. But for Clara, this was not just about flour and sugar, it was about family, history, and resilience, a legacy worth saving. Her younger brother, Jack, was no comfort either. "I can't spend my life behind a counter, Clara," he'd argue, frustration painting his face. "I need to create." His dreams of painting vibrant canvases clashed painfully with her desire to uphold their father's memory through the bakery. The dining table, once a warm gathering spot filled with playful banter, now felt like a battlefield. The warmth faded, replaced by frustration and unspoken resentment. The echoes of laughter lay buried beneath heavy silences, but hope flickered when Clara stumbled upon a local food contest. The thought of presenting a signature bread to a renowned chef sent her heart racing. This could be her chance. She envisioned a creation that fused her father's cherished recipes with her own passion, something that spoke of tradition but pushed boundaries. She poured herself into her work at the oven, where flour dust danced in motes of sunlight, her heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of the mixing bowl. As she worked tirelessly, doubt began to gnaw at her. Was her effort enough to break through the glass ceiling of class division? Just when she thought she had caught a break, sabotage emerged. Ingredients went missing, doughs deflated, and recipes found their way into the trash. The air thickened with tension. Each setback felt like a reminder of the judgment that loomed over her. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Facing her challenges head-on, Clara found herself at a crossroads, her family's legacy teetering on her shoulders, whispered doubts echoing around her. Would she rise to the occasion and reclaim her father's dream? Or would she let the past swallow her and her brother whole? The oven glowed with the promise of more than just baked goods. It was a lifeline, a beacon of hope. As the contest day approached, she steeled herself against the storm brewing inside. Little did she know, the outcome would not just challenge her baking skills, it would force her to confront the very ties that bind family and ambition. One question loomed: could she bridge the rift with Jack, or would their paths diverge forever, each seeking their own dreams but losing the way back home? Clara awoke to the sound of raindrops pattering against the windowpane, a rhythmic reminder of her anxious thoughts. It was contest day, an event that felt more monumental than her own respite. The bakery felt smaller this morning, the walls closing in as she wrestled with fear and determination. She glanced at her reflection in the window, warmth lingering in her cheeks despite the chill outside. Today, she would bake. With each step toward the kitchen, the smell of yeast and butter enveloped her, familiar and comforting. She gathered the ingredients spread across the counter: flour, salt, sugar, and the secret ingredient that was her father's essence, buried in his handwritten recipe book. It lay open, waiting for her, a bridge between past and present. But her moment of peace shattered as Jack stormed into the kitchen, an artist's smock splattered with paint clinging to him like a second skin. His eyes were wild, emotions swirling like a tempest. "You can't do this without me, Clara," he blurted, arms flailing, and Clara felt frustration rise. "This is my family, too. I want to be part of it." Clara turned from the mixing bowl, her heart racing. "I know you want that, Jack, but this bakery needs me now. I have to prove I can keep it alive." The words slipped from her tongue, harsher than she intended. Jack clasped his hands together, desperation spilling from his words. "But at what cost? You're building a wall between us." The anger in his voice melted into pleading. "You have to let me in, or I'll lose you just like we lost Dad." Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Clara's eyes started to blur with tears, remembering the days spent side by side in the bakery with their father, the laughter, the joy. Was she pushing him away to shield her heart, or was she truly following a calling? The vision of the contest collided with the reality of her family. "I need you here, Jack. More than you know," she whispered, the tension tightening between them. Jack met her gaze, the fire in his eyes cooling to embers. "I can help you create something beautiful." His voice was softer now, vulnerable. "Let us do this together. For Dad." Clara's resolve fluttered, hope blooming within her chest. Could they forge a new bond out of their shared grief? She nodded, a spark of belief igniting. "Okay. But we need to work fast, time is running out." Side by side, they gathered flour and sugar, baking into the night. Clara mixed while Jack painted notes of color into the dough, transforming it into a canvas of their shared past. With every swirl and knead, they whispered memories, laughter dancing between them like the flour dust. As the timer ticked down, tension mounted, a hush fell over the kitchen. Clara pulled the golden loaf from the oven, a masterpiece born of both their hearts. It seemed to glow, a promise, a new beginning, but just as excitement began to take hold, a shadow fell across the doorway. Clara turned to see a familiar figure standing there, a chilling smile plastered across a face she didn't want to see again. "What do we have here?" The voice dripped with disdain. Clara's heart sank. Would this setback unravel everything they had built? Would the weight of judgment crush the fragile thing they created together? As she faced her rival, a new question lingered in her mind: could they stand strong together against an unknown force ready to tear them apart once more? Clara's heart raced as she met the gaze of Lisa, her rival from the bakery down the street. Lisa leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, her eyes glinting with mischief. "So, you think you can win the contest with this little project of yours?" She gestured at the steaming loaf, mouth curling into a smirk. Jack stepped in front of Clara, instinctively protective. "What do you want, Lisa?" His voice was tense, but Clara could tell he was trying to remain calm. "I just came to see what kind of disaster you were brewing. Thought you might need a hand." Lisa's tone dripped with false sweetness. "I hear the judges love innovation. But I'm not so sure they'll appreciate homemade recipes from the last century." Clara clenched her fists at her sides. "This is about more than winning. It's about keeping our family legacy alive." "Cute, really," Lisa chuckled, rolling her eyes. "But your daddy issues 1-win contests. The bakery world doesn't care about nostalgia." She turned on her heel, her laughter echoing down the hall. As the door clicked shut, a heavy silence settled between Clara and Jack. Clara's stomach twisted. "You heard her, didn't you? What if she's right?" "That's just her trying to rattle us," Jack said, though uncertainty flickered in his eyes. "We have something she doesn't, our story. And this loaf is part of it." Clara took a shaky breath. "But is it enough?" Before Jack could answer, the timer on the oven beeped insistently. They both turned to look at the loaf, its golden crust beckoning like a beacon. She felt a rush of warmth, despite the chill creeping back into her bones. "I believe in this," Jack said firmly, interlacing his fingers with hers. "We can't let her get in our heads." Clara searched his eyes, sensing his fierce determination. "You really think we can do this? For Dad? As long as we do it together." He gave her a small, encouraging smile. Clara's spirits lifted slightly. "Okay. Let us focus on the next step. We need to build our entry, our presentation." With newfound energy, they cleared the counter of the remnants of the late-night baking session. They laid out the ingredients for frosting, fresh fruit, and decorations, each item a piece of their vision. Clara could feel her heart racing, a mix of excitement and fear, but mostly hope. They worked quickly, their laughter ringing out like music in the kitchen. As Clara piped delicate flowers onto the loaf, she felt as if each swirl embodied not just their grief, but their joy and strength as siblings united in the face of adversity. When the final touches were completed, they stood back, hands on their hips, surveying their masterpiece. The loaf shimmered with a glaze that caught the light, every detail eloquently telling their story. A surge of pride swelled within Clara. This was their creation, a blend of past and present, filled with love and hardships overcome. Just then, a knock came at the door again, louder this time. Clara's heart dropped. Who could that be? Jack glanced at her, concern creasing his brow. Should we answer it? The knock came again, this time more insistent. Clara felt her stomach drop. What if it's Lisa? Or worse? Jack whispered, hesitating as he approached the door. With every beat of her heart, Clara felt the weight of uncertainty pressing against her. Who was about to step into their kitchen now? As Jack reached for the handle, a thought broke through her worry. What if their moment of triumph was about to be shattered all over again? Jack opened the door slowly, the hinges creaking as if they were nervous, too. Clara pressed against the counter, her heart thudding loudly in her chest. To their surprise, it wasn't Lisa. Instead, a woman stood framed in the doorway, a vintage apron tied around her waist, her eyes wide with a mix of excitement and trepidation. I didn't mean to interrupt," she stammered, glancing at the loaf on the counter. "Is this yours?" Clara stepped closer, curiosity overcoming her initial anxiety. "Yes, it is." "Do we know you?" "Well, not exactly." The woman hesitated, fiddling with her hands. "I'm Miss Thornton, the event coordinator for the baking contest. I happened to be in the area, and I couldn't resist the smell of your baking. It's incredible." Clara exchanged an uncertain look with Jack, who seemed equally taken aback. "You just dropped by?" he asked, trying to mask his skepticism. "Yes. I've heard whispers about your family bakery. Your father was quite a legend in the baking world, you know," Miss Thornton continued, her voice warming. "I wanted to see for myself what you were creating. And, if you're willing, I'd love to feature your story in our contest program." Clara's mind was racing. This could be the opportunity they needed. "You mean, like an article about us?" "Exactly." Miss Thornton beamed. "There is a section dedicated to showcasing the bakers and their inspirations. Your family history would resonate with the judges and the audience." Jack's face lit up. "That sounds amazing," he exclaimed. "But our recipe, it's not anything groundbreaking. Sometimes, the best stories are the simplest." Miss Thornton shook her head, the eager light in her eyes unwavering. "People connect with authenticity. Your legacy is something people will root for. Let your father's spirit shine through your baking. It's not just about who has the flashiest new creation, it's about heart, history, and family." Clara's chest swelled with emotions as hope began to unfurl within. But what if she hesitated, biting her lip? What if we lose? What if it isn't enough? What if Lisa? "Hush, dear," Miss Thornton interrupted gently. "Remember, it's not just about winning. It's about sharing who you are, being true to your roots. Your father, his recipes, they're a part of you. That's worth celebrating. Clara felt a wave of calm wash over her, something in Miss Thornton's words grounding her. Okay. We'll do it, Clara said, determination creeping back into her voice. But we have to make this presentation special. Absolutely. When's the contest? Miss Thornton asked, pulling out a notepad. In a few days, Jack said, glancing at Clara. We have to put the finishing touches on the loaf and focus on our story. As they spoke with Miss Thornton, the air in the kitchen shifted. Clara caught glimpses of possibilities flickering like flames. They weren't just competing with Lisa now, they were stepping into a larger world, one where their family legacy mattered beyond any contest. Ms. Thornton jotted down notes, her enthusiasm infectious. One last thing, she added with a hint of mischief. If Lisa pops by again, remember to keep your heads high. You're not alone in this. Just then, there was a sudden crash outside the window. Clara and Jack exchanged startled glances. Clara moved to peek through the curtain. What she saw out there made her stomach drop. A crowd had gathered, and standing at the front with a furious look on her face was Lisa, pointing straight at their bakery. What does she want now? Clara wondered, dread creeping back into her heart. Standing in that moment, Clara realized their journey was just beginning. Would they be able to turn this moment into a victory, or would Lisa's shadow loom over them yet again? Clara's heart sank at the sight of Lisa outside their bakery, her face twisted in anger. The crowd buzzed like a swarm of bees, some turning to glance at Clara and Jack, eyebrows raised in curiosity. Clara could feel the heat rising in her cheeks. This wasn't just a small-town gossip session anymore. What's she doing? Jack whispered, eyes fixed on the scene unfolding. Probably stirring up trouble, as usual. Clara started but couldn't finish her thought. Lisa had a knack for turning people's attention as deftly as any seasoned performer. Let's just ignore her, Jack said, adrenaline pumping through him. We have bigger things to focus on now. Clara took a deep breath, channeling the determination they had just shared with Miss Thornton. They were about to step into a world where their father's legacy could shine, and she wouldn't let Lisa dim that light. She moved away from the window. You're right. We need to prep for the contest, she stated firmly. Let's fine-tune that recipe. With a renewed sense of purpose, they dove back into the kitchen, rechecking the loaf's ingredients. Flour danced in the air as they sifted it, and Clara felt the weight of worry lift for a moment. They laughed as they stumbled through the familiar rhythm of baking, cracking jokes about their attempts to mimic their father's precision and flair. An idea sparked in Clara's mind, one that blended their family's history with their current ambitions. What if we put a unique twist on the presentation? Jack raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Clara's heart thumped with excitement. We could tell our story while we bake. It'll be sort of like how Dad used to do it at the bakery. Each ingredient can symbolize a memory. Flour represents our foundation, sugar is like the sweetness of family, and the egg, well, that's just binding it all together. Isn't it? Jack finished with a smile. They would not just be baking, they would be weaving a tale. As they worked, Clara thought of Miss Thornton's encouraging words. This was more than a contest. It was about honoring their father's legacy and their own growth. Suddenly, the crash of a window shattered the moment of peace. Clara spun around to see Lisa looming at the front door of the bakery, flinging it open with an angry thrust. You can't just pretend the past doesn't exist. She shouted. Clara felt unease settle in her stomach again. What does she mean? But before she could voice her thoughts, Lisa stormed in, glaring at Clara and Jack. You think you're going to win that contest? You were never meant to take over this place. Jack stepped forward, his voice fierce. This bakery isn't just yours, Lisa. It belongs to our family, our legacy. You don't get to dictate what we do with it. Lisa sneered, but Clara noticed a flicker of fear behind her bravado. Family? Your time is over, she spat. I'll show everyone just how unworthy you are. Clara braced herself, feeling the familiar weight of doubt creeping back in, even as her heart raced with resolve. She grabbed Jack's arm, grounding herself. They had a story to tell, and it didn't belong to Lisa. As Lisa turned to leave, the crowd murmured in hushed tones, their restless energy heavy in the air. Clara's heart pounded. Jack, we have to get ready. We need to make them see what we are about to create, she said urgently. Jack nodded, determination in his eyes. Let us do this. Clara returned to the counter, gathering her focus. She would not let Lisa intimidate them. As they mixed and shaped the dough, Clara wondered what other surprises awaited them in the days leading up to the contest. Would they truly be able to reclaim their bakery's honor, and more importantly, what would Lisa do next to try and sabotage their moment? The kitchen was a whirlwind of activity. Flour dust swirled in the air, settling on Clara's cheeks like the remnants of her childhood. The sounds of the mixer whirred alongside Jack's enthusiastic chatter, bringing a sense of normalcy back to their chaotic morning. Still, Clara couldn't shake the sting of Lisa's words from her mind, echoing like a broken record. Let us add some cinnamon to the dough, Jack suggested, nudging her focus back to the task. It'll give it that extra warmth. Clara smiled. Cinnamon and sugar were Dad's secret weapons. He always said nothing brings a crowd like a little spice. As the scent began to blanket the bakery, Clara found herself lost in a flurry of memories. Every whiff of fresh-baked bread reminded her of late nights spent kneading dough beside her father, sharing laugh after laugh, and creating small rituals that infused every loaf with love and warmth. She caught Jack's gaze and could see a flicker of nostalgia in his eyes too. You remember when we tried to make that giant bread sculpture for the festival? He laughed, the sound filling the kitchen with joy. It kind of looked like a lopsided turtle. Clara chuckled. Yeah, and it collapsed 2 minutes after we put it on display. But everyone loved it anyway. They cheered us on like we were rock stars. As they reminisced, the doorbell chimed. Clara looked up to see a few familiar faces peeking in the bakery's regulars, intrigued by the commotion. Some held cups of coffee, while others carried their kids on their hips, eyes wide with curiosity. Mind if we watch? One of the moms asked, pushing the door open slightly. Of course. Clara replied, her spirits lifting as the crowd inched closer, drawn in by the warmth emanating from their workspace. Jack turned up the music on the radio, and suddenly the kitchen transformed from a battleground back into their safe haven. Bobs and sways accompanied the stirring of dough, and laughter flowed freely as they welcomed the crowd into the folds of their family story. They remind me of when Dad used to bake with the customers, Clara said, her voice barely above a whisper. He always said you could carve out a piece of someone's heart through good bread. Just then, Lisa's shadow darkened the doorway again. Really? Is that what you think? She sneered, her voice sharp enough to cut through the joyful atmosphere. The room fell silent. Clara's heart raced, and she felt the familiar weight return. What do you want, Lisa? She asked, trying to steady her voice. Just thought I'd drop by to watch the losers in action, Lisa shot back, crossing her arms over her chest defiantly. You think a few recipes and stories can erase the fact that you're not suited for this? That's where you're wrong, Jack replied, stepping closer to Clara's side. This bakery isn't just about the bread, it's about love and connection. Something you wouldn't understand. Clara held her breath, unsure of what Lisa would do next, as the tension hung thick in the air. Would she escalate the situation further, tossing insults like confetti? Would she hurt the fragile camaraderie that had just begun to bloom between Clara and her community? Instead of breaking under the pressure, Clara clenched her fists, feeling a surge of determination wash over her. Lisa, you can't stop us. We're just getting started. Lisa's lips twisted into a sarcastic smile. "We'll see about that." She turned on her heel and walked out, leaving the crowd buzzing with uncertainty. Clara turned back to the mixing bowl, heart pounding. "We need to finish this," she murmured. "We need to show everyone what we can really do." As they returned to their preparations, Clara's thoughts drifted to the contest just days away. The excitement and fear tangled in her chest. Would they be bold enough to share their entire story? With Lisa lurking, second-guessing her every move? Determined and invigorated, they moved closer together as they prepped, each ingredient a step toward reclaiming their family legacy. The dough was taking shape, and so was their confidence. What Clara didn't know was that even while they baked their dreams into reality, Lisa was plotting her next move, and it wouldn't be easy to overcome. Clara's fingers danced over the smooth surface of the dough, each push and fold echoing her resolve. Jack hummed along to the music, trying to keep the atmosphere light. A sense of camaraderie enveloped them, wrapping around the bakery like a warm hug. But deep down, Clara felt the weight of the upcoming contest pressing against her chest. This moment, so full of promise, was under threat. "Let us make something really special for them," Jack exclaimed, his enthusiasm bubbling over like the yeast in the dough. "What if we add some of that berry jam we made last week?" A burst of flavor, like a surprise. Clara's mouth curled into a smile. "That sounds perfect. Just like Dad used to." They began to mix in the jam, watching it swirl through the dough, painting it with patches of bright red. It was a metaphor for their lives right now, a blend of struggles and triumphs, layered together. The crowd watched, captivated, as they worked. Rather than being just a bakery, it felt like a mini-theater, where each action was a part of their story. Kids giggled as flour stormed into the air with every knead. Adults leaned in closer, eager to catch a glimpse of the artistry taking place. Clara could see hope in their eyes, hope the bakery would thrive, just as it once had under her father's guidance, but she couldn't shake the shadow of Lisa from her mind. Lisa's taunts replayed in her thoughts like a relentless loop. Just when Clara thought she'd transcended that dark voice, it would sweep back in, drowning her spark. "Don't let her get to you," Jack said softly, catching the flicker of worry in her gaze. "You know what we can do. We've got this." She looked over at him, grateful yet anxious. "But what if we don't? What if she's right?" Jack shook his head emphatically. "You're strong, Clara. Just look around. This is about more than the bread. It's about community. About family. And you have us." The truth of his words enveloped her, momentarily quieting the doubt that had settled in her heart. They continued to bake and laugh, and for a brief moment, the scent of cinnamon and berries wrapped around her tightly, protecting her from the negativity outside. Yet, the buzzing in the room grew, whispers growing louder about the contest that loomed ahead. The bakery regulars were rallying around them, excited about the upcoming event. Clara began to feel that anticipation rumble through her, fusing with her desire to succeed. It ignited a small flame of determination. It wasn't just about her anymore, it was about everyone who had come to support them. Later that afternoon, just as they were about to place their new creation into the oven, the phone rang. Clara felt a jolt of panic shoot up her spine. Would it be Lisa again? But instead, it was Mrs. Henderson, an older lady from the neighborhood, filled with warmth and wisdom. "I can't wait for the contest," Mrs. Henderson said, her voice crackling with enthusiasm. "Remember, Clara, it's more than just baking. It's about sharing stories. Bake with your heart." Those words sank in deep. Clara smiled, her heart swelling. Baking wasn't merely about the mechanics, it was about expressing their love, their journey, and the legacy left behind. As they slid the tray into the oven, Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose surge within her. They weren't just fighting for the bakery, they were reclaiming their history, their family's honor. But just as joy began to swell, there was a knock on the door. Clara's stomach dropped, the kind of knock that sent chills through her. She turned slowly, the music fading to a hush. What she saw next left her frozen in place. Lisa stood at the entrance, a malicious glint dancing in her eyes. "I hope you're ready for the real challenge." The air thickened with tension, and the crowd around them held their breath in anticipation. Clara's heart raced, caught between fear and defiance. Would they be able to face her again? The stakes were only getting higher, and as Clara exchanged glances with Jack, she realized that this was just the beginning of everything they had to confront. What was Lisa planning next? Clara's heart thundered in her chest. The sight of Lisa sent a frigid wave of dread coursing through her. She could feel the bakery pulse with tension as everyone held their breath, waiting for what would come next. Jack stepped slightly in front of her, his body a shield against the harsh reality of Lisa's presence. "What do you want, Lisa?" Clara asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Lisa rolled her eyes, a smirk curving her lips. "I just came to see how the competition is heating up," she said, her tone dripping with mockery. "I wouldn't want to miss the big show." The crowd murmured softly, and Clara could see the concern etched on their faces. This was supposed to be a time of celebration, a moment to push through the fear and embrace the bakery's legacy. Yet, here stood Lisa, the dark cloud in their shining moment. Jack stepped forward, his jaw clenched. "We're not afraid of you. We're here to showcase our love for baking, not to play your games." "Oh please." Lisa chuckled, her laughter high-pitched and cutting. "You think a little passion can beat experience? I came here to win, and I'll do whatever it takes." Clara felt a knot tighten in her stomach, but Jack squeezed her hand, a silent reminder of their unity. They were in this together, and together they could withstand anything, even the storm that Lisa represented. "What do you want?" Clara pressed, desperate to regain control of the situation. "I just thought I'd give you a friendly warning," Lisa said, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed smugly. "Don't get too comfortable with all this community love nonsense. You know how cutthroat this can be. I'll be bringing my A game." The crowd murmured, and Clara caught snippets of different responses, a blend of anger, concern, and even pity for Lisa. But what struck her most was Mrs. Henderson stepping forward, her voice steady and commanding. "Clara, remember what I said," Mrs. Henderson said, looking Clara directly in the eyes. "This isn't just about the contest, it's about sharing. If you stay true to that, the outcome doesn't matter." Clara nodded, inspired by Mrs. Henderson's warm support. Lisa might wield intimidation like a weapon, but she would not allow her to rewrite their story. "So, good luck, Clara," Lisa called as she turned on her heel, her parting words full of venom. "You'll need it." As the door clicked shut behind her, Clara felt the tension in the room begin to dissolve. The laughter and conversations around them steadily resumed, yet she stood momentarily frozen in her thoughts. Jack stepped closer, that unwavering support grounding her. "She thinks she can shake you. Don't let her." His eyes were steady, filled with confidence. "You've got more than she realizes." With a deep breath, Clara looked around at the people who had gathered to support them, friends, family, the community. She felt something shift within her, a spark of determination igniting once again in her heart. "Let us bake," Clara declared, her voice strong. "Let us make something that tells our story." The ingredients spread out before them felt different now, every spoonful of flour, every dash of sugar a voice rising against their fears. They mixed and kneaded, all the while laughter filling the crevices of worry that had taken hold earlier. As Clara worked the dough, the vision of the contest filled her mind. Of standing before the judges, not as Clara the baker, but Clara the storyteller. The hours seemed to melt away, unfolding like the dough in front of her, but just as they were pulling their creation from the oven, the door swung open again, this time revealing a tall figure in a crisp white apron and a familiar smirk. Did someone say competition? It was Lisa again, but now her presence seemed different, more menacing. Clara's breath caught in her throat. What more could she possibly want? And why did it seem like the stakes were rising even higher? What new plans was Lisa plotting now? Clara's heart raced again as Lisa strode into the bakery, her confidence radiating like a beacon, sharp enough to cut through the warmth of the moment they'd just reclaimed. Clara exchanged worried glances with Jack, who instinctively moved closer, ready to stand at her side. "Lisa," Clara said, trying to keep her voice steady, "what do you want this time?" Lisa's smirk widened. "Oh, don't look so scared, Clara. I just came to make sure you're still awake. After all, with baking, timing is everything. You wouldn't want to get caught slacking while I'm busy outperforming you." The laughter in the bakery fell quiet, but Clara could feel the tightness in the atmosphere. Everyone had resumed their work, but she sensed their collective breath held, unsure of what this new intrusion meant. "Why don't you just let us celebrate? We worked hard for this day," a brave voice piped up from the corner, Clara's neighbor, Mrs. Thompson. "But that's just it," Lisa replied, challenging the crowd. "Do you really think just showing up with good intentions will win you a competition? The baking world isn't as sweet as your creations." Clara took a breath. She wouldn't let Lisa suffocate the joy of their hard work with intimidation. "It's not just about the competition, Lisa. It's about the heart we put into our baking. It's about community, and sharing, and losing," Lisa interrupted coldly. "That's exactly what is going to happen to you. Just wait. I've got a little surprise planned for you all at the competition." The threat hung in the air like an ominous cloud. Clara's mind swirled with anxiety. What could Lisa possibly have in store? But before she could dwell too long on that sinking feeling, Jack squeezed her hand harder, grounding her yet again. "Whatever you're planning, you should know that we've got something more valuable than tricks," Jack said firmly, his voice steady. "We've got heart. And that will always shine brighter than your sneaky games." Clara's chest swelled with pride as she felt Jack's determination beside her. Together, they would stand firm against Lisa's malicious intentions. Lisa rolled her eyes and laughed, but this time it felt less like a taunt and more like an attempt to mask her concern. "Oh, how cute. You believe that passion can win over skill. But I'll be the one taking home the trophy. Just you wait." With a flick of her hair, she turned on her heel and walked out, taking the unsettling weight of her threat with her. As the door swung shut, a collective sigh swept through the bakery. Clara felt a mix of relief and lingering dread. "Are we really prepared for this?" Clara asked, her voice barely a whisper, looking at Jack and then the supportive faces around her. Mrs. Henderson walked up to Clara, her demeanor just as peaceful as before. "What matters is that you're true to yourself. Bake with your heart and you can't go wrong." The wisdom in her words wrapped around Clara like a comforting blanket. With renewed determination, Clara glanced at the creation they had pulled from the oven just before Lisa had crashed the scene. The sweet aroma filled the bakery, a reminder of why they were there in the first place. "Let us show Lisa what we really mean by sharing our story," Clara said, her voice rising with fervor. The others cheered, and together they began slicing the warm pastry. Each piece represented their dedication, their love, and most importantly, their belief in each other. As laughter bubbled back into the room, Clara felt that spark ignite again. Whatever Lisa was scheming, they would meet it head-on, together, but just as Clara prepared to share the first slice, her cell phone rang. The screen flashed with an unknown number, but something tugged at her gut. Who could that be? Clara murmured, feeling a shiver shoot down her spine. "Answer it," Jack urged, curiosity mixed with concern all over his face. Clara's fingers hesitated above the screen. What if it was bad news? What if it led her deeper into Lisa's chaos? Taking a deep breath, she decided. "I have to know." As she swiped to answer, the bakery fell silent again. Anticipation building. What if it's a game changer? She thought, nerves rattling in her stomach as she spoke into the phone. Hello? The voice on the other end was familiar but unexpected, and it sent Clara's mind racing. Clara, it's me. We need to talk. I have something important related to the competition. Her heart pounded. What had she walked into this time? The voice on the other end was sharp, urgent. Clara recognized it immediately. It was Ms. Thornton, the event coordinator from the baking contest. What's wrong? Is there something you need to tell me? Clara asked, her stomach tightening with apprehension. Ms. Thornton took a deep breath. I just wanted to give you a heads up. There's been some talk about Lisa in the contest crowd. She's good at what she does, but rumors are swirling about how she intends to present her entry. You need to be prepared. Clara's voice trembled. Prepare for what? There are whispers that she plans to discredit the other bakers, to put you, Jack, and your family legacy down in front of the judges. She knows your story, and she'll use it against you. Clara felt her heart drop. But why? We're all here to celebrate baking. Competition can bring out the worst in people, Clara. You know that, Miss Thornton replied. But I believe strongly in supporting the underdogs, in celebrating those who put their heart into their craft. Just remember, stay true to your passion and your techniques. Let your story shine through. Thank you, Clara said, her mind racing, the tension pooling in her chest. The thought of Lisa throwing dirt on their family legacy heated her blood. But in that moment, a steel resolve formed within her. I won't let her intimidate us, she said, looking to Jack and the others gathered around, their faces reflecting a mix of determination and concern. We won't let her overshadow the love that went into our baking. As she hung up the phone, Clara took a deep breath and scanned the faces around her. Everyone, I just spoke to Ms. Thornton. We need to be ready because Lisa is planning something underhanded for the contest. Jack clenched his jaw, the weight of her words hanging in the air. What do we do? He asked, flicking his gaze to her and then the crowd, who leaned in with interest. With newfound clarity, Clara outlined a plan. We focus on us. We continue to share our story, our love for baking, and our father's legacy. Let us earn the judges' hearts through each slice we share today. Let our vulnerability and spirit shine. The bakery erupted into cheers of agreement, the tight-knit community rallying around them. Clara felt the warmth of their support wash over her, burning away the lingering doubts and fears. They spent the next hours polishing their presentation, making each piece of their dish a stunning testament to their hard work and a tribute to their father's memory. The golden loaf shimmered, and as they embellishing it with fresh berries and delicate flowers, Clara felt the weight of doubt start to lift, replaced by hope and excitement. As the evening drew to a close, they gathered in a circle, hands in the center. We're doing this together, Clara said, her voice filled with emotion. No matter what Lisa tries, we stand united. This is about us. With a roar, the crowd echoed their agreement, the energy palpable, filling the bakery with hope. The contest day dawned bright and clear, the air electric with anticipation. Clara's heart raced as they arrived at the venue. Multiple tables displayed baking creations, each more extravagant than the last, but Clara felt no fear. Look! There's Lisa. Jack pointed towards a table where Lisa stood, impeccably polished and confident, her entry glimmering with ostentation. Clara swallowed hard, gathering her thoughts. They had a story, a legacy that couldn't be trampled by mere presentation. As they set up their table, Clara noticed the judges conversing in a corner, Miss Thornton among them. Clara caught her gaze, and Miss Thornton nodded subtly, fueling Clara's conviction. Finally, the moment came. Their time in front of the judges arrived, and Clara stood tall, not just for herself but for Jack and their father. With every word, she shared the warmth of the bakery, the laughter, the love, and the spirit of their family all mingled together. This isn't just bread, Clara said, holding their creation up high. It's our heart and soul commemorating a journey filled with love and loss. The judges listened, captivated. As Clara invited them to taste their creation, she felt confidence radiate through her. Even amidst the tension, she noticed Lisa's competitive edge falter, uncertainty creeping in amidst her highs and bravado. Clara exhaled, the heaviness dissipating as they tasted their bread. Clara cherished their smiles, initial hints of surprise followed by genuine delight. Then it happened. With grace and composure, they turned their hearts into a masterpiece, showcasing not just skill but their family legacy woven into every bite. As applause erupted, Clara glanced back at Jack, joy sparking between them. They had shared not just bread but their love, their truth, and that, Clara realized, was the greatest victory. The judges announced the winners, and though Clara was ready to hear their names, she felt an even stronger realization bloom within her. She was not defined by a trophy but by the connections made through community and love. The feedback was incredible, filled with praises of not just flavor but the essence of their story. As Clara stood beside Jack, surrounded by their friends and family, the laughter and joy echoed, weaving a beautiful tapestry of success that wouldn't fade even through the chaos. They had transformed not just their bakery but their relationship, and it would thrive brightly for years to come. "Let us go grab some more berries for the next batch," Clara quipped with a radiant smile, her heart untouched by Lisa's shadows. They walked through the vibrant bakery still filled with warmth, her father's love alive and well as Clara finally felt their legacy was right where it belonged within them, and if they could change a little bit of the world with bread, a truth rooted in the heart, they would. Before you go, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that ignite your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach others with these transformative tales. Comment below your reactions and feelings about the ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to spread this love.